Back in March at the Geneva Motor Show, Renault wowed the audience by unveiling a concept car called the Renault Zoe eSport Concept, essentially a high-performance variant of the Renault Zoe electric hatchback. The Zoe eSport Concept shared the same 40 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack found in the latest incarnation of the production car, but featured two electric motors putting out 340 kilowatts of power. Combined with its lightweight carbon fibre construction and diminutive frame, that translated to a 0 to 62 miles per hour, 0 to 100 kph, sprint time of just 3.2 seconds. At the time, I got kind of excited about the concept car, reiterating my belief on this channel that an electric hot hatchback was just what the plug-in world needed to get hardened petrol heads turned on to electric cars, at least in large parts of the world. But while I was getting excited about this not a Tesla high-performance model, I knew that the chances of this car entering into production were slim at best. After all, most concept cars never make it beyond the show floor. But after a summer where we've seen the Renault Zoe eSport Concept feature at several events, including the famous Goodwood Festival and its iconic hill climb circuit, Renault Sport boss Patrice Ratti has told UK magazine Autocar that Renault is working on studying the feasibility of producing a hot hatch Zoe that would hit the market before 2020. While battery technology for high-performance vehicles has existed for a long time, one of the challenges facing Renault has always been packing that high-performance, high-capacity battery into such a small form factor like the Zoe. And while other cars have succeeded, like the original Tesla Roadster, for example, Renault's RS-branded cars are road-legal vehicles that have the same number of seats and similar everyday functionality to the regular cars on which they're based. In other words, Renault now believes that it has the battery technology needed to fit a high-performance, high-capacity battery pack under the floor of a Renault Zoe that can handle upwards of 320 kilowatts without impacting interior space. But the challenge is more than just about how much space the battery takes up. The prototype Renault Zoe eSport Concept, despite having a 40 kilowatt-hour battery pack, could only be driven flat out for 15 minutes or so before draining the battery pack. Of course, I should point out you'd drain the battery pack in about 7.5 minutes if you pulled a constant 320 kilowatts out of it, but thankfully you're only kind of pulling that high power when starting from a standstill. But I digress. With such a high power motor pairing and a large battery pack, Renault's engineers need to shave as much weight off the Renault Zoe RS as possible to ensure it retains its excellent track prowess while also being a car that you could use as a daily driver. The Renault Sport team are working hard to make that happen, but apparently it will take time. Why not add a larger battery pack? Well, simply put, space and weight. The Tesla Model S, which tips the scales at 2,241 kilos, is nearly 1/4 longer than the Zoe eSport Concept, which weighs 800 kilos less. Put a Tesla-sized battery pack in the Zoe RS and it would be super sluggish. And that would kind of spoil the point of a hot hatch EV now, wouldn't it? Of course, if the last video I did on the Renault Zoe eSport Concept is anything to go by, there will now be a lot of people moaning at me about how the Zoe isn't a Tesla and it isn't worth looking at because it's a small European car. And if you're watching this in certain global markets and you don't like your car's pint-sized, I can see where you're coming from to reach that conclusion. But if that's your view, and you're entitled to it, I suspect you've never really had the joy of strapping yourself into a hot hatch and experiencing life at 60 miles per hour along a twisty, turny B road somewhere in the UK, or experiencing the unbridled joy of driving a car that's barely longer than its wheelbase down a picturesque French road on a summer's day, all while knowing that the car you're in, the car you're completely spanking at that point, is the same car that you're going to go to work in on Monday morning, take the kids to school in, or perhaps run that little errand with your mum next weekend. Yes, hot hatches are a little bit of a curio in some parts of the world, but in other parts, they're loved and adored. And if Renault is serious about making the Zoe a hot hatch, and it seems to be, there are plenty of fun times ahead for electric car fans looking for something that won't break the bank, but give them lots of fun regardless. I, for one, can't wait, because with Renault's legendary sport team working on the handling and chassis, and a plenty of power from a twin electric motor setup, I think the Renault Zoe RS will fly off dealer lots if it's competitively priced. Do you agree? Do you think Renault's pursuit of a halo EV in the form of the Zoe RS is a good one? Do you think hardened petrol heads will get the idea of a hot hatch EV? And how much would you pay for one? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Spread the word about this show. And of course, don't forget to help keep those wind turbines spinning by switching to New Zealand's only carbon zero certified renewable electricity company. That's it for today. Thanks for joining me. I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield, and until next time, hug a tree. Bye.